So, without further ado, I'll introduce Noel Gallagher.
Hello. Let the battle commence.
Okay, so first question, Gordon Smart.
Noel Gordon Smart from the Sun newspaper.
How are you doing, mate?
Noel Gallagher solo albums are like buses. You wait for ages, then two come along at once. How long have you been tucking songs away for this?
I've only really been writing 5 songs on every Oasis album for the last decade. So I've had lots of songs kind of floating about, but I hadn't really been stockpiling them for anything. I never really kind of get to finish them off. I just kind of would work on the 5 best ones and they'd be used for the record, because the way it worked then, I would do half of the record and the other guys would do the other half. So, well, I've always had lots of songs. I kind of keep busy when I'm on the road and when I'm at home. I always keep switched on.
Hello, Matt Everett, Six Music.
I know who you are.
Obvious question. What do they sound like? Do they sound like Oasis? Do they sound like your Oasis songs that just you played on? What do the records sound like?
The first one, the High Flying Birds one, I guess there's people who are fans of what I do will hear echoes of Oasis in there. But there isn't a guitar solo on the record until the 6th track. Somebody pointed that out to me the other day, and I was kind of, wish I could change that now. But yeah, so it's not very Guitar Hero. And the other one, it's fucking far out, man. It's I don't know if you're aware of what the Amorphous Androgynous do. They worked on a remix for me on the last Oasis record, where they managed to stretch 22 minutes out of one song. And this has got that album's got like 18 tracks on it, and it's like some of it's vaudeville, some of it's actual space jazz, some of it's krautrock, seriously, some of it's krautrock, some of it's soul, some of it's funk, and that's just the first song. But it's the furthest out I've ever been, let's put it that way. It's all good though.
Next question.
Hi, Katie from OKTV. Really looking forward to the music coming out. I hate to get into the nitty-gritty so quickly, but Liam's obviously been on telly this week saying he's much better off without you. What do you think of that, and do you think you're better off without
we had a sweepstake on how long this would take. I went in at 8 minutes. I don't know whether, did I win? That's not 8 minutes, is it? 2.5. Fucking hell. I'm sure he is, you know. I'm sure he is. Am I better off what financially? I don't know. I don't know. Well, no, probably not really, because this is. I don't want to sound to put a downer on it, but you know, I never really seen myself as being a front man, and it's. I can see it being a major pain in the arse for me. Even a symbolic thing like standing in the middle of a stage, although I've done it before, I've done it in gigs for charity, so always in my head I was like, well, I'm doing somebody a favour, so fuck them, do you know what I mean? And now it's kind of like I've got to stand in the middle of the stage, and that's going to be weird. So you know, he's probably better off without me because he's in charge, you know, and well, it remains to be seen whether I'm better off without him, doesn't it?
And next question is James from the Daily Star.
Hi, Noel. There's an interesting...
Is this a question about Jordan?
No, not at all, no.
Kerry Katona?
Oh, damn it.
Prince William?
I was actually more interested in your kettle. I was looking at the list of players you've got on the album. There's a guy called Mark Neary who plays wine glasses, washboard and electric kettle.
Yep.
Will that be going on the road with you? Can you tell us a bit more about the kettle?
The electric kettle? No. The guy Mark, he wasn't even supposed to play on the record, and he was just one of the guys who was operating the Pro Tools thingy-majig one day we were in the studio and we were having a discussion about how we needed a double bass on the track, and he just casually piped up. He's a Geordie, right? And he says, "Oh, I can play the double bass." And I was like, "What? Go and get it." So off he went. And then the next thing was like, we were going on about a saw. You know, you play the saw with a thing. Then he just piped up that he could play one of those. Well, we'll go and get that then. What else can you play? You know, and he'd come out with the wine glasses and all that. The thing about the electric kettle is obviously a joke. So, you know, we haven't got the flat case for the kettle. But funnily enough, I'm going to buy a new kettle this afternoon because our kettle's fucked at home. The lid won't open because it's got too much, what do they call it? Limescale in it. That's how rock and roll I am. I'm going to buy a kettle.
Next question there, guy in the middle.
Hello, Andy Welch from the Press Association. I saw you last year at the Albert Hall for the Teenage Cancer Trust gigs, and you said at the time that the album was pretty much done. Have you been sitting on it for a while, and how's it felt having that recorded?
I started it. You got to bear with me because it's a really long, it's a long tale. I started it on the night of the Brits where we won the best album in fucking 100 years or whatever it was. It was in the studio that night, and so that was it wasn't even this year, it wasn't even last year, it was the year, I think it was the year before maybe. Has it been that long? That's mental. And then, also on that night, it was a momentous night because the wife phoned and told me she was pregnant on the first night of me recording an album. And so we kind of worked on it for a few weeks, and then I don't know, I seem to have taken a lot of time off. I mean, we got married and moved house and had another kid, so that kind of took priority over everything. But it was nice not to work to a deadline, and it's the first time I've ever done that for as long as I can remember. But it's been going on for the best part of 18 months, so both of them have, you know. It was long, but, you know, and then we kind of moving countries, went over to LA and stuff like that, and it was amazing that in a world of Twitter and all that caper, we managed to keep it quiet until, you know, today. Which is quite incredible. I mean, it's typically, we kind of hadn't mentioned anything for 18 months, and then walk into a studio in LA and there's an English band in the next studio, and within 15 minutes, you know, one of them decides that he's going to fucking tweet about it or whatever it is to do, and the next thing, my phone explodes, and, you know, the cat was out of the bag, so, but, they've been going on for a while. I could feel your beard growing during that answer. I'm sorry that took so long there, mate.
John Ells in the second row from Rated.
Hi Noel, how did you go about recruiting the other musicians for the record? Are they the High Flying Birds?
Well, High Flying Birds are 6 air hostesses, hence the name. Well, one's from Cathay Pacific. One's from British Airways, obviously, got to keep fingering, so to speak. And they were just guys that kind of called up and asked, to be honest. Two of the guys, the keyboard player and the drummer, the keyboard player Mike Rowe has played with Oasis on the BA Now tour. Jeremy, who plays the drums, played the drums on the album, and he was kind of, he wasn't doing anything, so we offered his services. The bass player is Russell Pritchard, who used to be in the Zootons, who was last to come on board, and he just called me up one afternoon and said, "Have you got a bass player?" I said, "I haven't," and he said, "Well, I'll do it," and that was that. And the guitarist is a guy who, is anybody aware of the band, the Sand Band? You will be. No? Come on, mate, you've got to get plugged in. Well, the band from Liverpool called the Sand Band, who had an album out, I think, maybe this year or last year, and he's playing the guitar, and his name is Macca, and he's from Liverpool. Yeah, so, and then the guys that played on the other record is a completely different set of people, and to be quite honest, I've not the faintest idea who half of them were, because the Amorphous Androgynous were kind of getting people in, and I was walking in the studio some days and there's like people that I've never met before, and they were playing on my songs. It's pretty mad, but it's all turned out good in the end.
In the front there, in the middle.
Hiya, Carla Battisti, Entertainment News. Noel, emotionally, what was the difference between making this album and making an Oasis album? Were you more confident because you've done it so many times before, or were you more nervous because it was your solo album?
You don't get nervous making records. You get nervous before gigs, or nervous before, nervous before gigs. You don't get nervous than anything else. It was different because there was different musicians on it, and it was all my songs, and I was singing them, so I didn't have to explain to anybody how it went, or what it was about, or what the delivery should be, or any of that. You know, the box of tea bags lasted longer. There was no fighting for the, you know, the spare chair. I don't know if you've been in the studio, but there's always a guy who's sitting in a chair with a beard and long hair, who twiddles the knobs, and there's always a spare chair. There was no fighting over that. And there was no, you know, debating about the psychedelic benefits of an electric kettle or a washboard. It was kind of, let's do it and see what it sounds like. But emotionally, I ain't going to have to deal with that until the first gig. You know, that's be when it's, or maybe even in rehearsals when I'm kind of playing. And I mean, I've been playing with Liam and Gem and Andy for, I don't know how long it is, but over 10 years, you know. And even when I've done solo things, it was with Gem, so I guess I'm going to miss Gem the most, you know. But we'll just see how it goes, you know. I'm kind of hoping that people will just get the record and I'll be, you know, I'll be able to pull it off, so to speak.
And sorry, one more question. Which track are you most looking forward to performing live, and why?
I don't know. My Old Man's a Dustman? I don't know. I don't know yet. There's no point in me telling you because you've not heard it yet. So, have you heard the titles of the songs? Yeah. Oh yeah. I guess if I had a gun, because it sounds great on just playing it on acoustic guitar, and I mean, there's already a version of it on the internet somewhere of me doing it in a sound check a couple of years ago. So that one, but all of them really. I mean, saying that, we haven't rehearsed them yet. So I'd be amazed if initially there are 10 tracks on an album, all 10 sound great. It usually doesn't work like that. It's usually about 6, and if you're lucky, 8. So we'll see how it goes, you know. There could be one that I'm dreading playing a track called What a Life, because it's kind of, it's for want of a better term, kind of, it's like dance music, you know what I mean? And I'm 44, and I can't fucking dance. And there's no guitar, there's guitars in it, but I don't know what I'm going to do with that, so I'm kind of nervous about that, but I'm sure it'll all kind of take shape in rehearsals and it'll be all right.
Hello.
Let me from the mirror.
Bit of a 2-in-1 question. How important is it for you that the record is a commercial success?
Where are you?
Here, sorry.
Where?
I'm quite
all right, okay. Oh, hello.
How important is it that the record is a commercial success? And also, if you were to go head-to-head in the singles chart with BDI, how do you think you would fare, and why?
A commercial success, I've got no control over that, so I'm not, it depends how much the kettle costs this afternoon, to be honest. Do you know what I mean? I've no control over that. I don't know how many people are going to buy it. I don't know how many people are going to borrow it or rob it off the internet. I have no idea. It's important in the sense that it kind of validates what you do. If 6 million people buy it, then you think, wow, you know, kind of the point I was trying to get across, if such a thing exists, has obviously hit home somewhere. But other than that, you know, commercial success is, it's a weird thing, isn't it? Because it usually implies that you're shit. Do you know what I mean? If you sell like 18 million albums, and I'm going to backtrack on that because we've sold a lot of records in the past, but you know what I mean. And in the singles charts, I don't think BDI are having singles out, and I'm having singles out because they've been very careful to keep all that apart. We got the same management, you see.
I know, Greg from Radio 1. We've heard Liam talk a lot about that night in Paris. Obviously, the split came after that, but we've not really heard your side of things from that night. Looking back now you've had a bit of time to reflect, why do you think the reason that eventually you had enough of Oasis was?
Well, I'd never had enough of Oasis. I've had enough of him. And our whole relationship was never as bad as people made out, you know. But it wasn't like, you know, we weren't like Milli Vanilli, do you know what I mean? Or whatever that means, I don't know, but I assume they got on. But it kind of all started to unravel, if I'm being honest, when he started his clothing label, and he demanded that in the Oasis tour program that he be allowed to advertise it, which I was against, because I didn't think that it was right for him to be flogging his gear to our fans. And there was a massive row about that. And it kind of went back and forward for a bit, as I remember it. And in the end, I said, "All right, well, if you want to advertise in the program, how much?" And he couldn't get his head around that. And I was like, "Well, if you know, Electrolux kettles, you know, want to advertise kettles in the tour program, they pay us money, right? So how much are you going to pay me?" And he hit the roof, and it slowly went downhill from there. And the night in Paris, it was, you know, he didn't turn up for the V Festival gig, you know. He claimed he had laryngitis, but whatever, you know. And there was a lot of bad press around that. And in his own head, he thinks that I'm some kind of fucking puppet master who controls the media in England. So we get to Paris, and he starts saying, and he's reeling off journalists' names, and some of you are in this room. And there's all manner of people I'd never met, you know, "You fucking tell Johnny Borrell's moustache I want to kick his fucking head in." And it's just like, what? I don't know what you're going on about. "Hey, I'm Elvis Costello." And he's just like, "Well, he's fucking off his head." And it kind of went a bit, it was a bit like that, you know, and it was quite violent. At that point, there hadn't been any physical violence, but it was kind of, you know, it's a bit like WWE wrestling, and he was like the Macho Man Randy Savage, do you know what I mean? There was a lot of, "Oh yeah," and all that gear going on, and it's like, fucking hell, you know. And I'll never forget, there's all this kind of toing and froing going on, and I'm looking at Andy, who's sat there, constantly counting how many shoes he's got on, not saying a word, and I'm like, fucking hell, you know what I mean? And he didn't say anything. And Liam kind of does the, "Well, fuck you, and fuck you, and fuck you," and all that again. And he kind of storms out of the dressing room, but on the way out, and I'm glad it never ended like this, on the way out he picked up a plum. And he threw it across the dressing room, and it smashed against the wall. And part of me wishes it kind of did end like that, because that would have been a fucking great headline, you know. Plum throws plum and finishes fucking Oasis, do you know what I mean? And so then he kind of leaves, he goes out the dressing room, and for whatever reason, he went to his own dressing room, and he came back with a guitar and started wielding it like an axe, and I'm not fucking kidding. And I make light of it because it's kind of, you know, it's kind of what I do, but it was just it's a real unnecessary violent act, and he's swinging this guitar around, and he kind of, you know, he nearly took my face off with it, you know, and it ended up on the floor, you know, and I put it out of its misery, you know, and then I said, you know, well, look, there was people who were in the band not saying anything, kind of looking the other way. It wasn't even a big dressing room, do you know what I mean? We were all involved in it, and nobody was saying anything. So I was like, you know what, I'm fucking out of here, you know. And at that point, the tour manager came in and just went, 5 minutes. And I kind of walked out, and I got to apologise to Chaz Smash for Madness here, because as I was walking out, he was kind of came up and went, "Oh, all right, mate," and I might have told him to fuck off. And if you're watching this, which you're probably not, or listening to, I'm really sorry about that, but it was kind of a stressful afternoon. And I kind of got in the car, and I sat there for 5 minutes, and I just said, "Fuck it, that's it. I can't do it anymore," you know. And I regret it really, because we only had 2 gigs left. If I had my time again, I'd have gone back and done the gigs. That gig would have been dreadful because he was out of his mind, you know. I'd have done that gig and I'd have done the next gig and we'd have all gone away and we could have probably discussed it, what we were going to do. We may never have split up. We may just have taken a hiatus and we could have all gone and done our other thing, but Liam always said he would bring down Armageddon in the end. That's the way he kind of likes things to be, you know. And there you go. And it's a shame because I was comfortable in that band. I'd perfected that role of that guy who just stood on the right and played the lead guitar and done backing vocals and sang the odd acoustic. I fucking mastered that. It took me 18 years. 18 years it took me to fucking get that right. And I was brilliant at it. And if anybody came to the last tour, you'll know, I mean, I was fucking great. But you know, at the end of the day, he's obviously not, he doesn't like me, you know, but he doesn't like me in a violent way. I don't get on with him, you know what I mean? But he kind of takes it to a level which, for me, there's no point in being in a band with people who you fight with. What's the point? You know, just go on and do bigger tours and make more fucking money, you know, and then just always be arguing about shit, you know, it's just nonsense. So I kind of did everybody a favour, you know, and I left and I spoke to Gem since and Chris Sharrock. I haven't seen the other two. And there we go, and here we are.
Hello, Fiona Bailey from BBC News.
Hello, Fiona Bailey.
How important is it, the feedback from new fans and old fans for your new material?
It's weird with fans, isn't it? You never meet the ones who mind you with fucking pens and bits of paper, so I don't know. I mean, like I said at the beginning, I'm just assuming that fans of Oasis will like it because it'll have... I mean, I was the main songwriter. I wrote every song in that band that mattered, you know. So I'm assuming that they'll like some aspect of it. Now, I mean, you know, there's going to be reviews that people will say, oh, well, you know, if only Liam was singing them, you know, where in BDI reviews it was like, well, it's great, but if only Noel was writing the songs, and it's like, okay, well, we've fucking been there, haven't we, you know. So I don't know, you know, I don't know. Is it important? I guess, again, like going to the question the lady asked at the back, I guess it's kind of important because it validates what you do, but at the moment, I guess if I go out on stage and play the first song and nobody claps, then I'd be like, fuck, you know. But surely the wife will clap out of, you know, because it's in the marriage contract somewhere. So, you know, I think it'll be all right. I hope it'll be all right. Anyway. You're going to come. You'll clap, won't you? Yeah. Thanks.
Noel, can you just talk a bit about your plans for playing live?
Well, we're going to go out on tour the week after the album comes out, obviously, and it's going to start off kind of small in, you know, small theatres, and if it's deemed good enough to get any bigger than that, it'll get bigger than that. But you know, I don't think there'll be a huge, great, big tour this year. You know, kind of got to do stuff around the rest of the world. So I think it'll be. I think this year, as I understand it, is a quick whiz around the, so to speak, around the world and kind of do the major cities, and you know, and then probably be a bigger tour next year, I would have thought. But there'll definitely be gigs this year. Am I allowed to say where the first one is? Am I? Yes. Yes. Well, it's in Dublin, in Ireland. I don't know, on the 23rd, is that right? I don't know, 23rd. My manager's going like that. He doesn't know. I don't know. It's in Dublin, though, the week after the album comes out. And then, you know, playing in all the obvious places, I guess. Manchester, London, Glasgow, you know, Edinburgh. Walmington-on-Sea.
Next question at the front here.
Hi Noel, Sunta from XFM. You've got 2 new albums worth of material to play on that tour.
Yeah.
Will you be playing any Oasis stuff as well?
I don't think I'd be let get out of a venue if I didn't play the ones you would expect. the second record, the second album, that's not going to come out until, as I understand it, next summer anyway. I stress again, it's far out, man, and I don't really want to put the kids through it initially at the moment. 10 songs on an album lasts for 46 minutes and 12 seconds. That ain't long enough to charge people 75 quid. Not them charging people 75 quid, but so I'm going to play some Oasis songs, and they're my songs, and I wrote them all by myself, you know, and I'm proud of them, and I'm proud of what they mean to other people, and I'm proud of where they sit with what I've done now. And you've really got to be on stage and see what the reaction is of crowds when you play Don't Look Back in Anger and The Master Plan and stuff like that. And unfortunately them songs are like drugs to me, and I don't think I'd ever do a gig without playing them. That'd be crazy. It'd be like Paul McCartney doing the O2 and just playing fucking Wing stuff, wouldn't it? Do you know what I mean? Not that, I mean, that would be great, but not that I'm putting myself up there with Paul McCartney or anything, or the Beatles. But there you go.
Neil McCormack from The Telegraph.
Hi, Noel. So, did you know, there's a lot resting on this. Did you push yourself creatively? Was this a bigger challenge? Have you gone deeper? Is it just the same songwriting approached in the same way, or have you tried to push yourself?
The songs are not Oasis songs, as you would, whatever that means, I don't know. But it's not stadium rock. There's an electric kettle on there, for crying out loud, you know, and a double bass, and a washboard, and a fucking set of wine glasses, and a saw, you know. So, and that's just all in one song. And but I'm not. When I write a song, I'm not thinking how it should be or how it should go, or you know, I have to do something different because of what I've done in the past. We're all there to serve whatever the song is. The first track that you're going to hear, which is what it could be one of 4 at the minute, I've got to say, doesn't sound anything like anything I've ever done before. But that's not a conscious thing. It's just the way the songs are written. Because some of these songs on the High Flying Birds album were demoed during the last Oasis sessions. So, and I wasn't planning on leaving then or anything like that. You know what I mean? So subconsciously, I wasn't thinking, you know, this was, you know, I was going to do something different. But I've got to say, the main difference is, as somebody pointed out to me a couple of days ago, there's no guitar solos. There's only a guitar solo on 2 tracks, and one of them I didn't play. You know, so it's kind of, you'll like it. You have to wait till you hear it. You'll think it's brilliant.
So, but did you feel you had something to prove as a writer?
No. I'm not being arrogant. I'm a little bit, but you know, you've only got to prove it to yourself. Because you know, to prove to who? No disrespect to anybody in this room, but you know, if it comes out and journalists, you know, slate it, that doesn't mean anything anymore with the internet. You know, I don't mean to demean your jobs or anything, but everybody's a fucking journalist now. Everybody's a critic. Everybody reviews albums. So it's how it's received by the people ultimately, and I think they like it, or I wouldn't be putting either of them out.
Craig McLean, 4 rows back there from the Times.
I know. What would your album review of the BDI album be then?
I'll be honest. I haven't heard it because I know most of the songs anyway, because they've been going round for a few years, been, you know, put up for Oasis albums. But I've read a few of the reviews, and I've got to say it's got better reviews than any of you fuckers ever gave an Oasis album for the last 10 years. You can't begin to imagine how annoying that is. So it's kind of, I've heard what I've seen on the telly on Jules Holland and the Live from Abbey Road, and I've heard a few things on the radio. And out of respect for the friends that I've still got in that band, like Gem and Sharrock, I'd rather not. It's all right, isn't it? What do you think of it? There you go. You know.
Just there, 5 rows back, I think.
Hello, Mimi Turner from The Hollywood Reporter. I was wondering how you felt sort of emotionally about getting right back in front of audiences and people and the sort of the public eye and becoming, you know, another kind of character in a sort of narrative of fame. You've had so many years playing that role, and I wonder whether the scrutiny that goes with it, the impact on your life, I wonder whether they were issues that you thought about before kind of doing what you're about to do now and sort of start all over again, maybe in a different way, but definitely starting.
Well, emotionally, fame, the level of fame that I've got, I enjoy it thoroughly, I've got to say. Not in the sense that, you know, I'm running around at film premieres every Saturday, but because you might as well enjoy it, because there's no point in worrying about it or, you know, worrying about people watching you buying underpants in Selfridges. I mean, it's annoying. You can't begin to imagine how self-conscious you become when you're buying underpants, when like, you know, big fat dudes are watching you, you know, in ocean colour scene t-shirts, you know what I mean? And they're kind of like, it's weird, right? But you've got to buy underpants at the end of the day because you can't send the wife out. Do you know what I mean?
We've got time for 2 more questions.
But I'm going to enjoy it. It's going to be great to answer your question. It's going to be brilliant. I love it. Woo!
It's Adam Sherwin in row 3.
Had the authorities told you that maybe your phone might have been hacked at some point in the last 15 years? And what do you think about what we've learned in the last couple of days?
I've got to say, I hope it has been hacked, because there's some fucking colossal messages on there, because I've got a great bunch of friends, believe you me. And if it was hacked, some of your colleagues are in the shit. I'm not sure there's anything that I'm not that interested in, do you know what I mean? So why would people hack my phone? But on the question of what do I think about it, it's probably as gross an infringement of people's civil liberties as there's ever likely to be, I would have thought, particularly in the case of that young girl that died. And if that's true, I don't know. But it's kind of, it's the, you know, it's the dark side of the media, isn't it? You know what I mean? It's the dark arts. I guess we all know that it happens, but I don't know. I don't know. It's pretty bad.
Last question, 3rd row there in the middle.
Hi, Philip from Bank Showbiz. There's a song on the album called The Death of You and Me.
Yes.
Are we to assume that's about you and Liam splitting up?
You know the saying, if I don't leave this place, it'll be if we don't leave this place, it'll be the death of you and me. It's a bit more romantic than that. The wife said that when I played it to her. She was like, the death of you and me. And I said it was about us, you see. She said, what the fuck are you going on about? I had to explain it to her that it's a romantic song about, you know, about people escaping the surroundings they're in and running off and having a jolly good time and living happily ever after. But no, it's not about Liam. But you can say it's about me and Liam if you want. I'm sure I'm not going to fucking stop you. So, you know, it would have been called, you know, The Death of Me and the Singer of BDI anyway if it was about him, wouldn't it? But no, it's not about me and Liam. It's about me and this press conference, I believe. Are we done?
On that note, everybody happy, I hope, and thanks very much.
Thank you.